DeAndre Hopkins and Des Bryant posted a video. The text is asking for this like every 10 or 15 minutes if we don't talk about it. DeAndre says, "What's up, Triple D? I keep hearing people around here saying my name." So he says, "What's up? Come talk to me." And Des and DeAndre have a little bit of fun on Dez's Instagram Live. Does that get you guys excited?
Yeah, it definitely gets me excited. He's flirting with us. I don't know that the Joneses and the Cowboys are going to flirt back, though.
Tim and Carthage are guys like, this is going down. They're giving up a second-round pick for D-Hop. Tim, I hope you're right. I would love that to happen. I see that there is a groundswell of some Twitter people that think DeAndre Hopkins is old in the tooth. They think the money's too much. For his production level, for everything he's accomplished, I don't see that. I haven't seen a decline in his play personally when I watch him, and I don't think that he's overpaid. In fact, he's underpaid, and that's the one caveat here is maybe he wants a new deal, which I don't see the Cowboys wanting to do, which is why I don't think they'd be interested in that. I think they'd be more than likely not wanting to trade a draft pick, and they'd probably sign an Odell Beckham Jr., who they've done a ton of legwork on already. But I'd rather have DeAndre Hopkins. I think he is not coming off of 2 knee surgeries, and he's extremely productive, and he's been able to be productive no matter who his quarterback is.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that's good with this. I just think we haven't seen a reason to believe the Cowboys are going to go spend money. As a matter of fact, Jerry talked about Friday how, once again, when you pay the quarterback, you can't pay skill players. And that has been how they have gone about the wide receiver team building part of it for decades now. There was a small window where you had Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb on the team at the same time, but they never push for like 3-name or 3-star receivers. They're going to try to add some juice to that room without spending money or, draft capital in a trade to get there. From my perspective, I think this is another player very smartly using the Cowboy star in the brand to elevate his name as we're about to enter, the real big stage couple of weeks for personnel movement in the NFL. That's what I believe is going on. It's amazing that so many of these guys want to play. But yeah, Hopkins is so much better than Odell Beckham Jr. For a couple of more millions of dollars, you get a younger player who hasn't been hurt. I don't know how his stock took such a hit that he's not requiring a number 1 pick to get his services, because DeAndre Hopkins is that good, especially a late one.
Amen.
Okay, Belt saying, if I were a betting man, I'd wager the Cowboys' first 3 picks in the draft being a combination of corner, running back, and pass catcher, either a receiver or tight end. That's amongst his takeaways coming out of the weekend in Indianapolis. What's the most important right now? Is it corner? Considering how bad that last month was and how bad the Cowboys corners got picked on, I don't know. I think I'd have to put a good cornerback number 1, and it's a crapshoot in the second round. You could either get Trayvon Diggs or you could get Joseph. Yeah. So what do you guys think is the most important thing going into the draft right now?
I still think it's the juice that Gelkin talks about offensively. I think you've got to find a way to, when a Tony Pollard goes down in a game, you're not just completely at a loss and looking around going, okay, it's CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of guys you can't trust.
Yeah.
So to me, it's about putting talent and playmakers and weaponry around your quarterback, whether that is one of these stud tight ends, whether that is one of these wide receivers. At some point, I would say, hopefully not in the first round, but one of these running backs. Like, you need speed, you need juice, you need home run hitters, you need guys that threaten the defense. And to me, that would be even more important than a corner right now.
Okay. And then there's a pass protection note from Bobby Belt. We've talked a lot about the run blocking, but talking to people in Indy this week, it sounds like the Cowboys really want to make sure their pass pro is cleaned up and more consistent. When they talk about putting the best 5 out there, that will largely be based on who are the best 5 pass blockers. And that's really interesting, because if you ask me, Terrence Steele still isn't a good pass blocker. Tyler Smith isn't a good pass blocker. Is Tyron Smith young enough to still be good at that? How good is Biotish at it? If you want to build a pass blocking offensive line, I think you got a project on your hands. The run blocking is the one thing that I think they can do at an above average level still. Brian, where am I right or wrong on this?
I kind of feel like, though, if you look at that, what Steele and Martin were able to do on that right side as run blockers, I thought they did a pretty good job of kind of helping each other too with the stunts and things like that as a pass blocker. The problem with Steele, he's just not really strong enough. but he's really good as a foot athlete. He can scoop, cut off, reach. All the stuff with the run blocking and stuff is great. But yeah, I mean, I think Biotish got better as a pass blocker. If you ask me what his strengths are, I would say it was probably be as a pass blocker over a run blocker for sure.
It's also interesting because they're talking about we're trying to get the ball out quick.
Right, yeah. And we want to run the ball.
Right. We're not necessarily needing a ton of time to allow pass protection sets, right? Like we don't need a ton of time in the pocket for our quarterback to stand there and go through progressions. So it's a little bit weird, but it does fit what they attempted to do against the Bucs. I mean, they put out a new offensive line with Jason Peters starting over there on the left side and kicking Tyler Smith in at guard. That was their best pass blocking offensive line, in their opinion.
Okay, elsewhere in the league, there is more optimism today on a Daniel Jones deal for the Giants than there was on Friday. Apparently, they closed the gap significantly. They're trying to avoid using the tag so they can tag Saquon Barkley and have both of them back. If they have to use the tag to keep Daniel Jones, some around the league believe Saquon Barkley will be elsewhere because he will hit the free agent market. Where's Anthony Richardson going to get drafted? He blows up the combine with all sorts of impressive physical things. I saw one story that said he could go in the top 12, but Vegas has him with the second best odds to be the top pick.
I know.
So that is fascinating. Incredibly strong and a great runner of the football, and maybe that's where we are right now in the NFL. That just that could get you drafted in the top 3 or something like that.
Man, I'll tell you what. The last line of my notes is he keeps his eyes downfield, but I'm not sure how much he's really reading.
Huh.
I think I watched him and it was very revealing. And this is no offense, and I appreciate Steve Mariucci doing this. Steve put him on the board, and there was a little bit, you could tell Steve was kind of like getting him to repeat the play and then redraw the play after he'd seen the play. You know, and you wonder with some of these college kids really how in deep they go into these of studying the game and really, I mean, there's some kids that are super, super smart, and I'm not saying he's a dumb kid. It's just, I feel like, though, there's going to be some serious growing pains with this guy.
Yeah.
He looks beautiful the physically, how he is and how tough he is and all that and how he's able to function. But there's going to be times in this game where it's going to have to, you got a quarterback here that's going into his 8th year that they're talking about kind of dumbing things down for him.
Sure.
Am I right about that?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So imagine what it's like for a kid coming out of Florida that's, you know, they're going to throw him into that deep into the pool. He's talented up.
13 starts,
yeah.
53% completion percentage.
There's guys,
Ouch.
Achilles Smith.
Threw
Gavin will
17
remember
touchdown
this
passes last
because
year.
Achilles Smith was out there on the West Coast.
He was at Oregon, yeah.
Yeah. So
3rd overall pick of the Ducks. The Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like he was like Ryan Leaf was a 1-year starter at Washington State.
Mark
One read
Sanchez.
guy.
There's guys that you're kind of like, yeah, but then again, you've had guys too, like we've seen the guy from that was with the Bears that
Fields.
Before him that from North
Trubisky.
Carolina.
Oh, Trubisky, yeah.
Trubisky made a ton of starts at North Carolina and went in here and just peed down his leg.
I saw
you can miss on all these guys.
similar things with Richardson, right? I think he's a guy that needs to sit for a year.
Yeah.
I just think that, to me, when I was watching Mooch put him on the board, I was kind of like going, Mooch, you could tell by the way Mooch was reacting, because I've been with him before, that maybe he was like,
Not impressed.
He just was thinking that this kid's struggling a little bit with this.
Well, I can't take a guy in the
interesting.
first round that's going to struggle like that, because if I'm taking a quarterback in the first round now, I'm trying to get that quarterback advantage, and I need to get him on the field. But sounds like a guy you guys are talking about that should be a second rounder or at best a very late one.
I got him in the second round myself, and
Okay.
I just think there's so many positive things about him of how he physically looks. But I wonder, though, are you going to be able to get the advantage you're talking about right off the jump with the mental side of the stuff of reading defenses and things like that?
Okay, other quick notes here. The Seahawks are still working on a deal with Geno Smith. Tag deadline again tomorrow. They do own the 5th pick in the draft.
That might be a perfect spot.
Yeah.
If he can sit behind Geno for a year,
Okay.
that might be a perfect spot.
They're
for
talking
Anthony
about trying to get a
Richardson.
3-year deal done with Geno, but only the first year or two will be
Fair
guaranteed.
enough.
Reports they're considering the non-exclusive tag in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. That would be 32 compared to 45 million, although that might be so offensive to Lamar they don't even want to mess with it. Derek Carr to the Saints, and the 49ers coming up in the Baker Mayfield buzz. That would work, wouldn't it?
Interesting.
Baker Mayfield, quarterback with the Niners.
Well, because they probably only need him to start until Purdy can come back.
Right.
If they're totally out on Lance, they look to move Lance.
I think the thing with Baker Mayfield is he's now realized he's no longer a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
He's more comfortable now being the backup guy.
Would you be okay with him backing up Dak if the Cowboys lost Cooper Rush?
For under $4 million, maybe under $3 million, it's got to be a really low number. Because a lot of guys are showing at league minimum they can step in and win you games. So if Baker Mayfield is like, yeah, I'll play for league minimum, I want to be a Cowboy, then we got ourselves a deal, I think.